What's going on YouTube? Taters from TeamSlopyTaters here today, and I know it's been a while since I've posted up something YuGiOh related, but you know, I've been really busy lately. School starts in 2 days, but I've died down a little. My schedule's open for today and tomorrow, so I think I'm going to try and pump out as many videos as I can these next 2 days before I hit school, the first week of school, and see if we can't get some good response. And then once I get on a good school schedule, I'll start uploading videos regularly. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience, guys. You know, today I'm going to talk to you guys about a series I'm starting. Continue off a video I made a while back called Let's Talk about Thunder King YuGiOh. And I'm going to make this a series called Let's Talk. Now, this series is going to be kind of like I did with the episode of with Thunder King. Is I'm going to take a card, I'm going to examine it, I'm going to talk about how the card plays and how people use and misuse the card sometimes. So I'm going to start it and see what you guys think about it, and if you guys like it, I'll definitely continue it because it's an easy series for me to do. It's a fun one, and I just like to talk about cards. You guys know I love to talk, so we'll just go ahead and get into this episode. This episode is going to be about Moulin Glace, the spiritual ice inheriting lord. Now, this card is coming out in Abyss Rising. It's not available in the TCG, and this card is kind of like if you guys know about the card Grand Soil, the spiritual rock residing lord from Return of the Duelist that's coming out. He's kind of like the earth type Dark Arm Dragon, and this one is the water type Dark Arm Dragon. So I'm going to read you through the card and tell me, I'll let you guys know my thoughts on the card. So his name is Moulin Glace, the spiritual ice inheriting lord. He's a level 8 water type sea serpent with 2800 attack and 2200 defense. His effect says, cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by having exactly 5 water monsters in your graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. When this card is special summoned, discard 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. The effect of Moulin Glace, the spiritual ice inhabiting lord, can only be activated once per turn. If this card leaves the field, skip the battle phase of your next turn. Now, a lot of people are kind of raving and ranting about this card, like, oh, water types finally have like their really good powerhouse boss monster that's splashable in every water deck. And it's going to be played in all water decks, and it's such a good card. And I'm not really on that boat. The problem I really have with this card is that it just doesn't do enough. It doesn't do enough for what the card is. Like, we'll just go through kind of a pros and cons list. The pros is it's a free 2800 beat stick that gets 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. And the cons are, it doesn't do anything more than that. Like, once it's there, it doesn't do much more than that. Now look back at the other cards like this, like Dark Arm Dragon. It hits the board, it's a 2800 giant ass beat stick that can destroy 3 cards minimum the turn it's summoned. It can just destroy 3 cards. And let's look at Grand Soil, the Earth Dark Arm Dragon. When it hits the field, you can special summon any monster from either player's graveyard. And it doesn't have any restrictions as to what you can do with that monster that turn. You just get that monster, and it's there until forever. It doesn't lose it or anything until it dies, and you just get to keep that monster. Those are big-ass effects. Those effects are amazing. My problem with this card is it's not big enough like the other 2 were. It's just water decks are such good decks, and there's a lot of support coming out for them in Abyss Rising and stuff like that. And it's really kind of a letdown to see this card be so minimal. When it hits the field, it's going to get rid of 2 cards in your opponent's hand. Now, it's mandatory that it has to be 2. So if your opponent has 1 card in their hand, this effect doesn't resolve and discard that 1 card. It has to discard a minimum of 2 cards. So if your opponent has 1 card in hand, then this effect doesn't even work. Next, it discards 2 cards and doesn't even send them. Now, if it sent them, if it sent 2 cards from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, this card would be a lot better. But for the simple fact that it discards 2 cards from your opponent's hand, completely makes it a write out, because Dark Worlds are still a deck. They're still running around in every regional, local, YCS, everywhere. They're always being played because they'll never be hit, and they're a really, really powerful deck. And this card fires off all their effects. If you get hit with a Snow, a Silva, a Gold, or like a Grapha with their second effect, then you're screwed. Especially Brow. Brow lets them draw 2 cards. If you hit Brow with this card in Dark Worlds, they just draw 2 more cards. So it doesn't even matter that this effect went through. So that's my problem with this card, is that, yeah, it's a 2800 beat stick, level 8, giant monster, and it can hit the field and change the game from there on. But it doesn't do enough, and when it does do something, it's got a lot of limitations, and it's a really lackluster card, and it's poorly designed. I feel like they just did this card so they could make one for the water archetype and move on. That's my real problem with this card. I just save this card when you're making a push for a game. If you're ever using this card, don't use it right away when you're available. Use it only to push for game in emergency situations, because this card cannot hold its own. That's all I'm saying. It's a big monster, but there's a lot of removal in this game right now, and this card is not going to last very long. So yeah, that's my evaluation on the card, Moulin Glace, the Spiritual Ice Inhabiting Lord. So thanks for watching, guys. Tell me if you like this series and you want me to continue. Hit the like button if you do. The video gets 10 likes, I'll definitely continue. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't. If not, you know, just move on. If you're not going to subscribe, then come on. You gotta love me. But I'm Taters from TeamSlopyTaters. I hope you had fun with the video, but that's the end. Get ready for some music. I'm out.
Hey Carly, call me maybe. Better yet, call me baby. We drinking up this vodka, she mistaking it for water. This party just made the news. Guess who just backed the reporter?